Welcome to Podcast Summaries, where every week we break down powerful ideas from 8 to 10 top podcasts to help you grow, heal, and thrive while saving time. If you find this summary helpful, please subscribe and check out links for more content. Your support keeps this journey going. Here is summarized version of Obesity Expert: The Hidden Reason You're Always Hungry Can't Stop Gaining Weight, featuring Giles Yeo by Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty asks a question that gets to the heart of many people's struggles. Why is it so difficult to lose weight? Giles Yeo's response is straightforward: because your brain hates it when you lose weight. You're fighting biology. This sets the stage for a deeper exploration of the complex relationship between our brains, our bodies, and food. Jay Shetty presses Giles Yeo on the idea that calories are a myth, asking how people have used calorie counting as a strategy for weight loss for so long. Giles Yeo explains that while calorie counting can work in a balanced way, the problem is that people get obsessed with the number and forget about the quality of the food they're eating. He emphasizes that the major issue is not the quantity of calories, but the quality of the food. Giles Yeo shares an example to illustrate his point. He compares 100 calories of corn on the cob to 100 calories of corn tortilla or corn bread. While the calorie count is the same, the body absorbs calories from these foods differently. This highlights the importance of considering the quality of food, not just the quantity. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo to define what is truly healthier. What is healthy for one person may not be healthy for another. He emphasizes that it's not just about the number of calories, but about the nutritional quality of the food. Giles Yeo explains that obesity shifted to become a real problem in the mid-80s, around the time when fast food became more widely available. He notes that the rise of fast food was a gradual process, with each step amplifying the problem. From drive-thrus to delivery services, the ease and convenience of accessing unhealthy foods have contributed to the growing obesity epidemic. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo about the difference between 500 calories of French fries and 500 calories of a healthier food. Giles Yeo explains that the body absorbs calories from these foods differently, and that the quality of the food matters more than the quantity. He notes that people often make the mistake of comparing foods based solely on calorie count, without considering the nutritional value. Giles Yeo emphasizes that calories are not all equal. He explains that the body digests carbs, fats, and proteins differently, and that protein is particularly important for building and maintaining muscle mass. He notes that the more muscle lean mass a person has, the healthier they are likely to be, especially as they age. Giles Yeo shares a personal anecdote about how he used to think that all calories were created equal. He notes that he's learned to appreciate the importance of quality over quantity, and that this mindset shift has made a big difference in his own life. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo to explain the difference between digestion and metabolism. Giles Yeo breaks it down, explaining that digestion is the process of converting food into fatty acids, amino acids, and sugars, while metabolism is the process of transporting those nutrients to the cells and converting them into energy. He notes that each of these steps takes time and energy, and that the body has to invest energy into them. Giles Yeo explains that protein is the most complicated macronutrient to metabolize, with only 70 calories out of every 100 calories of protein being usable by the body. He also mentions that calorie counts are likely 5–10% wrong due to the energy it takes to metabolize these macronutrients. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo to explain why people often report losing weight when they travel to Europe, despite eating more bread and pasta. He notes that even if people are eating the same foods, the way they are prepared and processed can make a big difference in terms of calorie intake. Giles Yeo also explains that genetics play a role in how people metabolize food, with some people being more efficient at releasing calories from food than others. He notes that this is not the primary cause of the obesity epidemic, but rather a small factor that can contribute to differences in weight loss. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo about the stubborn belly fat that many people struggle with. Giles Yeo explains that it's difficult to direct where fat is lost, and that the only way to get rid of belly fat is to eat less and exercise more. He notes that genetics can play a role in where fat is stored, but that it's not a guarantee of weight loss. Giles Yeo also discusses the genetic limitations that different demographics may face when it comes to weight loss. He notes that South Asians, for example, may be more prone to storing fat around their stomachs, while East Asians may be more susceptible to metabolic diseases. He emphasizes that genetics are not a guarantee of weight loss, but rather a factor that can influence how easily or difficultly someone loses weight. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo what changes people can make to their diet to improve their health. He notes that these changes can be culturally specific, but that there are some universal rules that can be followed to improve overall health. Giles Yeo shares 3 key numbers to focus on for a healthier diet: 16% protein, 30 grams of fiber, and limiting free sugars to 5% or less of energy. These numbers can be applied to any culture or type of diet, and tweaking them can lead to a healthier diet. He emphasizes that protein sources can vary, including tofu, beans, and vegetables, and that fiber is essential for a healthy diet. Giles Yeo explains that when reading food labels, it's essential to focus on the amount of protein, fiber, and sugar. He suggests looking for products with higher protein and fiber content and lower sugar content. He also notes that the industry needs to change how they label products, making it easier for consumers to make informed decisions. Giles Yeo discusses the concept of incidental virtuous foods, where manufacturers add healthy-sounding ingredients to make a product appear healthier. He cites the example of shredded wheat with berries, where the berries are added to make the product seem healthier, but the actual nutritional content remains the same. Giles Yeo analyzes various food products, including tortilla chips, shredded wheat, and protein bars, highlighting the importance of reading labels and being aware of added sugars, fiber content, and protein levels. He emphasizes that even seemingly healthy products can be misleading, and that consumers need to be vigilant when making choices. Giles Yeo shares his thoughts on sugar, stating that it's not addictive in the classical sense, but can activate the brain's reward system, making it pleasurable to consume. He notes that sugar is often added to products to enhance flavor, and consumers need to be aware of this when making choices. Jay Shetty asks if sugar is addictive. Giles Yeo responds that while sugar isn't addictive in the classical sense, our brains can develop addictive behaviors around it. He explains that if he took sugar away from someone, they wouldn't experience withdrawal symptoms like they would with a substance like crack. However, our brains can get used to consuming sugar, leading to cravings and overconsumption. Jay Shetty wonders if healthier food is more expensive to produce. Giles Yeo believes there's a marketing element at play, with companies making money from labeling certain foods as healthy. He also notes that cultural differences play a role, as some foods considered cheap in one culture may not be in another. For example, lentils are affordable in India, but in the UK, they might be more expensive due to the time and effort required to prepare them. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo to elaborate on his statement that weight is biology, not laziness. Giles Yeo explains that genetics play a significant role in body weight, with heritability estimates ranging from 40 to 70%. He notes that, while environment and socioeconomic status also contribute to weight, biology is a powerful driver. Giles Yeo uses the example of twins to illustrate this point, explaining that even if one twin is more inclined to overeat, their brain will still try to maintain a certain weight. Jay Shetty inquires about the role of willpower in weight loss. Giles Yeo responds that willpower is simply a manifestation of our biology, influencing our food choices and craving. He believes that discipline is a more effective approach, as it involves making conscious decisions about our behavior. Jay Shetty shares his personal experience with developing discipline around food, having grown up with a sweet tooth. Giles Yeo agrees that discipline is essential, but notes that it's not just about individual choice. He emphasizes the importance of understanding our biology and environment, as well as making behavioral changes to support our health goals. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo about the challenges of losing weight. Giles Yeo explains that our brains are wired to resist weight loss, as it perceives it as a threat to survival. He notes that as we lose weight, our brains make us hungrier and lower our metabolism to try to regain the lost weight. Jay Shetty wonders how to combat this natural resistance to weight loss. Giles Yeo advises being honest with ourselves about why we eat, and developing strategies to mitigate our cravings. He emphasizes the importance of controlling our environment, such as by not keeping unhealthy foods at home. Jay Shetty asks Giles Yeo about the role of age in weight gain. Jay Shetty inquires about the rise of weight loss drugs, such as Ozempic. Giles Yeo believes that these drugs can be effective for people with severe obesity, but notes that they should be used judiciously, and not as a cosmetic solution. He emphasizes the importance of nuance in determining who should receive these drugs, taking into account factors such as BMI, ethnicity, and overall health. Jay Shetty asks about the dangers of weight loss drugs like Ozempic, and Giles Yeo explains that the biggest danger is when the wrong people take it, specifically those who don't have a lot of fat to lose and take too much of it. This can lead to starvation, as the drugs make you feel fuller, but don't improve your diet. If you're already skinny and take the drug, you're essentially starving yourself. Giles emphasizes that the drug is a silver bullet for feeling full, but it doesn't improve your behavior or diet. Giles Yeo suggests that if he could put a warning label on one part of the diet industry, it would be to not obsess over one item of food. He explains that sometimes life demands a treat, like a chocolate bar, and it's okay to indulge occasionally. However, it's common for people to eat unhealthy foods like chocolate bars every day, and this can be detrimental to their health. Giles also warns against obsessing over calories, as it doesn't improve the quality of your diet. Instead, he suggests focusing on protein, fiber, and sugar intake. Jay Shetty asks Giles where someone who's feeling overwhelmed should start, and Giles suggests looking at their diet as a whole, focusing on protein, fiber, and sugar intake. In the final 5 questions, Giles shares his best health advice, which is to move more. He also reveals that the worst health advice he's ever heard is to count calories. Giles used to believe that metabolism drops with age, but now knows that it's only because muscle mass drops. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, check out YouTube channel, and just remember, subscription is only £1 or $1 per month. Leave a comment or review. Until next time, happy listening.